What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today we're gonna do World War I. Oh, yeah, I got something. We're gonna do World War I. Anyways, I don't know how World War I was. I don't know how World War I happened. I know how it started, but I just don't know everything. So actually, let's just differentiate. Okay. Let's make it different. So this is gonna be World War I but different. I don't know how it just turned out. You can watch some YouTube videos on how World War I was, and but anyways, we're gonna be doing well, maybe not different, but like I don't know, man. Okay, let's just do it differently. Anyways, okay. So the starting is gonna be. I know what the starting was. It was a Serbian man shooting the leader of Austria-Hungary. A war was started between them. Bulgaria joined in, and then everyone else joined in. So here's how it. So it turned out that the Entente powers have won. The only Entente power that lost was Russia. I don't think Japan was involved, so it's gonna be different. And there's something about Tanzania that just looked like this. I searched up a map for this, and I just saw that. So it just looked like this. So I just did this, but anyways, whatever. So the Entente powers are. So Serbia is getting invaded. Bulgaria is joining in so far managing to capture 0 territories except so far territories are being captured in this bunch of years are going on. Something different the no shit. In this whole thing Belgium is invaded over France. The French invasion is going extreme. France is not letting them. France is actually pretty good in defense, so they're almost trying to push back. The Ottomans are invading. The Ottomans are invading the Russians in the war. The Ottomans launch an invasion on the Russians in the war. The British, even the British, and so far they're not doing so good, but they captured something. I don't know what they captured some of Georgia. I think that's Georgia, and they captured this. I don't know. Now we're gonna do something different. France has actually defended from Germany, but what if that didn't happen? What if France failed to defend from Germany? So France is failing to defend from Germany. Germany is extremely powerful. They actually France surrenders, and this is how it's gonna work out. It's the same as war. Okay, no, listen, it's this. This is how it's gonna work out, Noah. They don't like make a peace. They make a peace deal. Let's just say they make a peace deal. Now they make a deal, and France is fully annexed by Germany. So yeah, that's amazing. The Dutch is invaded. Who loses? So the Germans are getting more powerful by the time, and the Russians are invading, causing the Germans to get involved. by the way, the Russians lost because they're kind of struggling. What do they want? What if the Russians were able to defend? So the Russians get help from a lot. So the Russians are able to defend. Guys, they're actually struggling, but what if they didn't struggle? So if they didn't struggle, the army will probably still be a bit weak, but not actually weak. It wouldn't be too weak. They'll actually be able to defend from the Germans. The communists might get involved in this. Where they start from, I don't know. Let's just say this. Let's just say they're from both sides to like trigger. To like, I don't know, not trigger, like, to get a good head start. They start from 3. They start from 3 of both sides, causing it to be extremely bad. Although they still managed to defend from Germany. Germany getting pushed back heavily surrenders. The land is given back. So they actually like land is given back. They in fact take some time. In fact they want some territory. No, that's actually fair. So the land is given back. Okay, what am I doing? The land is given back, and yeah, the invasion of Austria-Hungary continued. The Germans will try to help out, but they can't invade. Although the Russians will be struggling a little because they have to stop the communists while while trying to stop Austria-Hungary. So they have to stop from both sides. They have to stop both sides, which is crazy. They start struggling, and the Austro-Hungary starts defending. The communists are getting insane by time. And a war, and this is a war, I think, by the time the Russians come back, it might be too late. It will be too late. Actually, no, because by the time the Soviets have captured a lot, but by the time they unite, it might be too late, because then the Russians will separate them again, showing that they can still win. But a lot of land has been captured. The land is invaded again and is given back. There's tons of chaos with the communists. The communists are winning. The Russians are winning. We don't know what's gonna happen. The communists are winning. We don't know what's even gonna happen. And also, by the way, the British comes back in time. And also, by the way, with lesser allies, I think there might be a heavy struggle. What is Serbia? So Serbia was invaded and was captured, but what if they didn't? What if they weren't captured? What if they actually defended? Causing Austro-Hungary would attack the Russia with land gains back. They continue invading, but Bulgaria leaves the war. The Ottomans, I forgot, they're still struggling. They're also invading the Ottomans. They're not struggling. by the way, but what are the Ottomans? So the Ottomans actually lost. The Ottomans did lose in World War I, which caused the collapse. Which caused the collapse. But what if they actually won? So they pushed deep into territory, capturing West Georgia. They even defend from the bridge. They defend from Britain getting Egypt. Aiming for Egypt. In a few days, they actually gained some territory back. The Ottomans have found a way. The Ottomans have increased their economy somehow by not taking up much territory. The Ottomans have increased their territory just by, I don't know. The Ottomans have increased their economy just by doing something. They apparently gave Hotch this independence, which increased their economy. Just the most random stuff is gonna happen. They gave independence to Hotchitus, so they don't have to protect anything. But they found out they saved their own economy somehow, and yeah, they're still going to demolish everything. Everyone's still getting demolished. Egypt is under Ottoman control. Sudan is invaded. The British surrender and leave the war. The Ottoman powers might lose, but the Russian Empire is holding on. The Russian Empire is somehow managing to hold on. It's probably just lucky. They defeated. They're already done with the communists go for one side instead of the two, because if they go for too many sides, the communists go on one side to be fair with so that they don't get separated from US armies. If they separate themselves, the Russian Empire will win because they're probably still an army, so go on one side. Unfortunately for the communists, fortunately for Russia, they managed to separate them, causing an internal risk. This side loses. The communists are starting to lose. The communists will still manage to get back on their feet. Now they're struggling from both sides. The Russian Empire is taking longer to collapse. They try to invade, they separate them, but still it does not work. Eventually they surrender and give up. Eventually they decide to give up. Eventually they just surrender and give up. They surrender to the Ottomans and give up Crimea. Just to not deal with them. Sure, it's pretty sad, but you know what? Actually, it's kind of a good idea because now the economy is good. They don't have to protect something anymore. So yes, the communists eventually lose, and the Russian Empire has lost land, but they managed to keep up. Independent movements start happening. Turkmenistan gaining independence, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, and Kyrgyzstan. They gained independence in Uzbekistan. Same for Uzbekistan, they also gained independence. Kazakhstan, same for Kazakhstan. The countries getting independent. the Russian Empire is losing more land. Fortunately for them, there's something they don't have to. Fortunately, they don't have to like protect much. They didn't have anything to protect them. The economy starts crashing, but so fortunately for them, so they just leave out Crimea. They eventually start crashing their economy, but it's still like kind of going up. It's still kind of crashing and kind of going up. So it's just both. So what happened? So the Russian Empire gained strength. Romania is invade. The Austro-Hungarians invade Romania. The Ottoman Empire takes advantage of this and takes Romania. The Ottoman Empire buys land from them. The Ottoman economy has increased just by selling land. They invade Iran and then Iran surrenders. So these 5 countries have already gained independence. Except the lands are a bit different. Turkmenistan and Tajikistan gain their original lands, but Uzbekistan doesn't gain this because Kyrgyzstan has what's it called, bro? My stomach kinda hurt. They can't gain this because Kyrgyzstan has this. They can't gain, they can't gain this. They can't gain. They can't gain this because the Russians refuse to give and they don't want to war. They can't gain this because the Russians refuse. Because the Russians have refused. So, I've given this land. I'm not really giving the land. They already got independence. They should be grateful. Yeah. Shut up, bro. The Russian economy has actually increased by a lot. Bulgaria buys from Austria like a lot. This just seems boring. Sweden invades Russia hoping to gain back Finland. Except they just... Sweden invades Russia hoping to get back Finland. Sweden gains this part of the Sweden is winning because they have joined the Central Power. Then they start losing and then they eventually surrender. There's only some parts they can gain just for them. These are the only parts they can gain. Russia is just giving us an agreement that none of Finland is going to Sweden. And Sweden is getting... The German Empire wants to launch an invasion again, but they can't. So they invade Italy, who's planning to get this broken up because Austro-Hungary is a little too strong. And hasn't even started collapsing, bro. The invasion goes successful. Also, I forgot to color this up. The invasion is going extremely successful. Italy surrenders and Italy only has Sicily left, so they surrender and all. There's an agreement. So all of Italy is not going to be annexed, but only northern Italy is going to be annexed. One of the standards called Mardi is something, whatever that is, and they still, the Austro-Hungarians still keep it, because why not? They invade Romania because just why not, bro? Italy is invaded by the Ottomans. The French is invaded by the Ottomans. They're getting the entire land back. They're raising. They have peak. They're at their peak except for one. So they invade Greece. They also invade Greece, which is basically. They eventually stop with the invasions because if they keep invading too much, and they will start to collapse. Serbia is getting demolished easy. Serbia is not backing down. They in fact gain territory. They fight Albania for North. They fight for North Albania. Montenegro fights for independence. Montenegro gains independence. And Montenegro teams up with Serbia. Montenegro teams up with Serbia, and Serbia teams up. Which after a few years, Serbia united with Montenegro. But the Russian Empire's help, they're actually doing pretty decent in the war. They're actually doing really, really, really well in the war. Causing them to. They might surrender soon, and they will. They will surrender soon. So this is the mark. This is the end has been marked. The end. Austro-Hungary has surrendered, not ending the war. They don't want to end the war. Austro-Hungary. In this war, they actually still engage. So in this war, Austro-Hungary surrenders. Ww1 is still happening. Germany launches another invasion of the Russian Empire. So a bunch of wars have been going on since then. Also the Japanese have gotten involved. No, they actually haven't, bro. So a bunch of wars have actually been going on. Like Bulgaria is not dipping the war there. Also, I don't know, bro. Like the French invading, the Ottomans invading Egypt. The Germans facing some invading Denmark and losing. They gained this and this, but they still lost. But they lost the worst. They surrendered. War between Denmark. They gained this and now there's a whole invasion. The British face Germany invading. The British face Germany invading them gaining land, but still losing. But despite that, Germany still lost and surrenders. France also invades, having Germany surrendered, and this is the only. Unfortunately for France, they can only gain the land. There's not a. They actually strengthened their army a lot. So they might win against the Soviet Union. I mean the Russian Empire. I don't know why I say Soviet Union. Declaration of independence has not happened yet since no losses were seen. Finland Finland goes to war for independence. Finland goes to war with the Russians for independence. Russian Empire might collapse soon. Also, it's now 1919. The World War hasn't ended yet. The Ottomans have also. This is all that happened before this whole invasion. Every day, every time. Everything has happened. The Ottomans are part. The Germans are still invading. Finland is also. Finland wants their independence. In fact, they're gonna gain a lot. Finland gains their independence after a while. Germany is getting pushed back. After the independence, Germany gets clowned on and get pushed back. This looks oddly familiar. Sorry. This looks familiar to something. No one looks familiar to we know, bro. We know what it looks familiar to. Okay? There's not gonna be numbers, okay? We know what it looks familiar to. Okay? Maybe Georgie shouldn't. The German Empire. This is about to mark the end of World War I. Took a long time, okay? The German Empire gets extremely clouded on. The Polish actually fight for independence against this monstrosity. Poland wins and gains independence earlier. Poland wins gaining independence earlier. They invade Austro-Hungary. I have no idea how did Poland get their independence and how do they gain this much? The German Empire, I think this is. They will have a greater extent. Did they fight for independence? But this is the greatest extent. They will gain Lithuania, they will gain some Belarusians and Ukrainian land. They will gain this. Eventually the French and the British team up and fight. Except only troops have been deployed. No invasion, no liberation invasion. Because the Germans are weak. Another invasion that happened, bro. And this land is taken by the way, there's a whole liberation by Italy. Italy sends to a whole independence war by Belgium gains back independence. The Dutch gains back independence. Luxembourg gains back independence. Leaving Germany off like this. Denmark fights again. And this time gains land. There's an entire surrender of Germany, leaving only this. There's a peace deal that means that Germany gets to keep some stuff. That Germany gets to keep some stuff. That Germany gets to keep some. This is what Germany gets to keep. They say that one of them will not even happen. This is what Germany gets to keep. So sure, there will be an agreement. Poland will just agree instead of going for war. Luxembourg will be independent. Belgium and Netherlands will be independent. Denmark will gain this. The Ottoman Empire leaves the war in peace, gaining land and actually having a good economy this time. Bulgaria also leaves the war. Serbia forms Yugoslavia. Instead, they also have North Albania. So, anyways, guys, if you guys like the actually Finland gains their independence. Actually, they gain independence, they only gain this much. The Soviet Union has is still that China and Japan did not get involved. The US did not get involved. The US did not get involved. Britain and France did get involved mostly. Britain mostly got involved because of the Ottomans. Crimea was lost because of threats. You just see what happens. The stands get independence, and blah blah blah. The Austro-Hungarians don't collapse. The Austro-Hungary doesn't collapse. Blah blah blah. I'm thinking guys here. If you guys like the video, make sure to hit the like button and make sure to subscribe. And bye. Also, Germany doesn't get any African colonies.